This is Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak's May 6, 2011 Michigan State University commencement address.
Of those of us who started this personal computer industry, almost none of us had college degrees. We were out doing what we felt like doing and were meant to do. And I'm the only one that actually went back and got a real college degree after the success of Apple, once I had a chance. Went back under a fake name and got my diploma in that name, Rocky Raccoon Clark. Today, I'm proud to be in Michigan. My family actually goes back to Michigan, the Wozniak side of it. And my dad was a great engineer, electrical engineer, and he was superb at teaching and educating us and bringing us up. And he would point out different choices in life. It's the way you educate. You point out different choices in life. You don't tell somebody there's only one path that you have to go. So he would educate us and then let us make our own choices along the way. He taught me that the purpose of technology was to make a better life. We'd have things like clothes washers, dishwashers, appliances for the home that gave us a better life at home, more time, more luxury, more entertainment. And I thought, wow, that's so great. And the most important gadget of my life, my little transistor radio. I lived in Silicon Valley, and they started coming out with the first chips. They were about to produce the first chip with 6 transistors, and I said, wow, they're going to make better transistor radios, right, Dad? And he said, well, no. The newest technologies, the state-of-the-art in technology is always for those who can afford it. The military, the huge corporations, the governments. And it comes down to the average Joe in his own home, only what falls out and trickles out and the lesser of it. And I said, darn, someday I want our own needs in our own homes and our own lives, the consumers of the world, to somehow direct the state-of-the-art of technology. Well, we've come full circle. Now the greatest chips in the world are made for our personal computers and our phones. Actually, the biggest chips in the world, the most powerful chips in the world, are made for games now. So we've really come around. The military actually benefits from all the cheap chips due to the volumes of the number of iPods sold. That's great. When I headed off to college, I was lucky. I had all the entrance exam scores. I should go to a top technical school anywhere in the country. And I followed my heart, and I went to a school where there was snow out in Colorado. And I'm glad my parents didn't force me to go the logical way. You should go where you want to go. You're going to achieve on your own in life, and you might as well have fun doing it. I told that to my daughter when she headed off to college. She was an athlete, so she had recruiters coming from all over the country, and the prestigious Ivy League schools sound impressive. But I told her, it's the most fun 4 years of your life, and every year got more and more fun when I was in college. You should be with people that are like yourself that you're going to have fun with. And you're more of a Southern California girl. That's all I said. And a week later, she changed her mind and went to UCLA. So, and that's the way I believe, point out don't force ways, but point out, what you feel. I went to my first year in computers. Introduction to Computers was a graduate course, and I was a freshman, but I was allowed to take it because I was in engineering. I wrote every single program I could think of writing. It was my passion to learn to do everything with computers. If it's sitting there, I'm going to use it to its fullest. And the trouble is, and I got a job too, a little job, and I could buy manuals at the computer store for every programming language and every little computer tidbit there was. No classes, no grades, just did it for myself. And I ran our class 5 times over budget on the computer deal. I didn't know they had budgets. I was an engineer, not a financial guy. Well, this passion for computer, the rewards were inside my own head. I wanted to learn computers because I could never afford a single part to build one. In high school, I could design any computer in the world in a couple of days. I got so good, but I could never build one. It was pencil and paper tricks. I never thought I'd have a job designing computers. The rewards were in my own head. I'm doing what I like doing. I don't get something people can see on the outside, extrinsic rewards. I don't get a job, a title, a grade in school, a salary, yachts, and prestige. No. Computers for me were to give away. So when I developed the first computer, well, it was actually the second computer I'd built in my life, but it was a great computer and it became the Apple I. I gave it away for free because I was part of a social revolution. These computers were going to give us new ways to communicate, to send messages that hundreds of people could read within an hour over modems. Well, we've gone far past that. And we were going to be able to have better education because the computer knew as it taught you if you had the right answers or not. And we were going to use 100% of our minds instead of 10%. I was scared that the kids were going to outsmart all of us older people. You know, I was in my young 20s then. And but the most important thing to me was that these computers, the small little guy, was going to become a master of solving his own problems, go into his huge company with millions of dollar computers and type in the financial data and pop out the answers and be more important than the CEO. I wanted to elevate that little guy just out of college that has some knowledge and a brain to have some chance of doing something important. One of the best projects I did for the Apple computers in my life was the first floppy disk drive for a personal computer. My motivation was if I got it done in 2 weeks, and it's a man-year job, if I got it done in 2 weeks, I get to go to Las Vegas and see the lights of that city. And because we'd have a reason to take me to show it off. And I got it done, and I got to see Las Vegas. An internal reason for doing something is always going to push you to more excellence than any salary or any stock options your company can give you. If you feel it inside, this is what I want to do great just to show off my abilities. Today, we're having a great rate of change of how we do things. Everything in life is done differently than it was when I was young. It's hard to keep up with the changes. Well, one university I went to recently gives an iPhone to every single student. They said if the students are living with this technology in their daily lives, we should incorporate what they're used to, their young culture, into our education system. Myself, I've always favored younger people for having the minds and really being the future to fix all the problems we adults have caused and created in the world. I think that someday technology is going to solve the great problems of the world because we'll implant a GPS chip in everybody. We'll have a camera on every corner. I'll always be able to type in your name and see what you're doing 24/7. And you won't want to have children, so the population will go down and the world's resources will be maximized and everything will get fixed. Society and school restrict our choices. They teach us there's pretty much only certain ways you go through the maze, through the system. There are only certain things you're expected to do. And the nerds are the unsocialized ones that think, well, I'm not quite in with the normal. I don't go along with the crowd. I just do different things. For some reason, I'm different. And it encourages you to think independently and say, I'm going to think on my own, come up with my own ideas. I'm not going to follow everybody else and what they're saying. I'm going to believe in myself and my own capabilities. And doing unusual things is okay for a lot of us. And that really is like breaking the rules of society that said, don't think out of the box. And really, everybody says think out of the box, but they say, here's how things are done. You got to do them the same way they've always been done. If you're doing the same thing everyone else is doing, you're just following the crowd. You're not a leader, you're a follower. The further you're going to go in life, in your career, depends more upon than your grades in school, depends more on whether you're well liked by those among you. Try to be nice to people, even if they're mean to you. Turn the other cheek or something, be nice back. You know, the trouble is you're at that change where your personality is going to stay stable for life. If you're a jerk now, you're going to be a jerk forever. And another small point, I've always believed very much in humor. Laughter is the best medicine. I used to say H equals S minus F. Happiness equals smiles minus frowns. You can live your life in a way that you aren't going to have very many frowns. Don't care so much about some issues that if they turn out the wrong way, you're going to be so unhappy with yourself. You're just going to have more unhappiness and stress, muscles pulling in your head for your entire life. Nice to be peaceful and have happiness in life. I changed that formula a little bit to H equals F cubed. Happiness equals 3 Fs, food, fun, and friends. Food is the necessities of life. Fun is entertainment, which has a validity. And friends and family, of course, are important. I told this when I was being put into my high school Hall of Fame, and they started laughing. I said, oh, yeah, there might be a 4th F. A lot of people like to talk, but they don't walk the walk. Be a doer in life. Change things. Make new ideas that help people get something more than they used to have. Our country right now is down the charts more than any country in the world. In every category that when I was your age, we were #1 in the world. Every category of education, of health, of welfare, of economy, of technology. Down, down, down the list. Number 8, number 16, number 30. They keep lists in the White House. That's where this comes from. We've got to, where does this come from? Something is wrong and needs changing in our future. When we originally designed the PCs, we wanted to improve things like the education, the communication, and making the small guy important and a master of his own fate, like I talked about. What about the computers of the future now? Well, it's hard to predict the future. Things come out that you never expected, and they turn out to be really great and important things. It's the internet. Right now, if you had a tough question, you used to ask a college professor. You used to ask somebody smart. Now you ask somebody whose name starts with G-O. And it's not God I'm talking about. It's Google. So you ask, and you get many more answers back. And it's like, we've got a part of the brain power of the world is now the internet. Did we design the internet to be a brain? No. It happened by accident without us knowing how brains work. We just hooked up communication channels between computers, and we let people share things on the web pages that everyone could read. And then we made search engines to find the stuff, and it turns out that that is a lot of part of what the brain is. Every time we invent a new computer to do something else, it's doing our work for us, making ourselves less relevant. The cyborgs are winning. The androids are winning. They won 100 years ago, actually, if you want my own opinion. Well, artificial intelligence is really the future. The computer's becoming more and more like a real person, a friend you would want to go and meet, somebody you would talk to that looks at your face, that understands things, that knows what kind of jokes you like, that knows what sort of things to say depending upon how slowly you're talking that day. A real person. And it's coming. At first I thought we'd never get there because artificial intelligence has these teeny little aspects of oddball things it discovers, and it's not really like a real human brain. But now we've got our small little phones. Small little phones. One of the things is you've got to have human senses. How could a computer ever create art, for example, if it can't sense things that a human understands, like the wind on a beach? Well, our computers now have hearing and seeing. They've got feeling, touch sensitive. They can sense motion, just like our inner ear. Someday they're going to project holograms that look so real, much better than what they're calling 3D in televisions, because the eye isn't as confused by it. We've created a new species, no question. We're creators. And like I said, we're making ourselves less relevant. I'm going to give you a couple pieces of advice. Number one, don't waste your life. Number two, make your life fun. Go Spartans.
That was Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak's May 6, 2011 Michigan State University commencement address.